class, today we're going to talk about area and perimeter. Can anyone remind me of the polygons we learned about last week? Jasmine, can you remind me of a few polygons?
A square and a circle.
A square and a circle. Okay, can someone remind me about the other polygons that we talked about?
A triangle and a rectangle.
Okay, and I think there were at least two more. Can someone tell me about those two polygons?
A parallelogram.
Okay, and what was the last one? No one remember? It's called a trapezoid. Remember this shape? The trapezoid. Okay, and today we're going to learn how to calculate the measurements of some of these polygons. The first measurement we're going to talk about is perimeter. The perimeter is the sum of the length of all the sides. So for example, if I have a square, sorry my square is not that perfect and I just broke the chalk, but anyway, the square we're going to have 4 centimeters, and we all know that each side of the square is equal. Good job. So therefore it'll be 4 here, 4 here, and 4 here. And looking back at the definition, it says the sum of the lengths of all the sides. And when we hear the word sum, that lets us know we can add. So when we add all the sides, what do we get?
16.
16. 16 what? Always remember to use your
Centimeters.
16 centimeters. And that's how we do perimeter. Now, there's another way to calculate the distance, and it's called area. Area is the number of square units that covers a shape. So going back to the square, since we know that the side was 4, we do 4 across and 4 down. Now area is something a little bit different from perimeter. To calculate area, we go to something called the formula chart. And here we have a square, and so to be able to calculate area, you do the length times the height. And the length is how long it is, and the width is how wide it is. So if the length is 4 and the width is 4, how do we find the area? Brittany?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. So therefore we multiply 4 times 4. And what do we get here, Jasmine?
16.
16. Now you may notice that both perimeter and area are the same for the square. Do not get in the habit of thinking that's going to be the same every time. It only happens because a square has equal sides. Let's try another polygon. Let's look at the rectangle. We're going to do, let's say, 4 centimeters for the length and 2 centimeters for the width. Jasmine, can you tell me the perimeter of this rectangle?
12 centimeters.
12. Okay, can you tell me how you got 12?
4 centimeters plus 4 centimeters.
Good.
Plus 2 centimeters plus 2 centimeters.
And that gives us 12. Brittany, can you, based off the definition, give me the area of the same rectangle?
8 centimeters.
8 centimeters. Can you tell me how you got the 8 centimeters?
length times width, so 4 centimeters times 2 centimeters.
Good job. Let's try one more example from our polygons. Let's try a parallelogram. And I can't draw these the best, but we're gonna try. Jasmine, can you tell me the perimeter for the parallelogram?
30 centimeters or 30.
30 centimeters. So let's check and see if she's right, class. We have another 5 and a 10. 10 plus 10 equals
20.
20. And 5 plus 5 equals
10.
10. And we add that up, and what do that gives us?
30.
30. Good job, Jasmine. Okay, Brittany, could you tell me the area for the parallelogram?
50.
50. And how did you come up with 50?
10 times 5.
10 times 5. Good job, guys. Let's go back and refresh our memory, make sure that we remember our definitions. Jasmine, could you tell me the definition of perimeter without looking at the board?
The definition of a perimeter is the sum of the length of all sides.
Good job. And Brittany, could you tell me area without looking at the board?
The number of square units that covers a shape.
Good job. Okay, since you guys have the definitions down, I'm going to erase them off the board, and we're going to take this lesson just a little bit further. We're going to see how we can use area and perimeter in the real world. Can anybody give me any example that you can think of how we can use perimeter and area in the real world?
When you are putting a fence around a yard.
Good job, putting a fence around the yard. Okay, give me 2 more.
Lacing a board.
Lacing a board, oh, that's a great idea. An example. And one final one.
Measuring a wall.
Measuring a wall, good job. These are just a few of the real world examples that we could use area and perimeter. Okay, I'm just going to make up a random example. Let's say Jenny has a garden. It's in the shape of a rectangle. And Jasmine, give me some dimensions for Johnny's garden.
10 inches by, no, 10 feet by 12 feet.
10 feet by 12. Let's do it like this. And we'll just put some little flowers in here. Okay, let's start with area this time. We know that area is the calculation of the length times width. Brittany, could you tell me the area for Johnny's garden? Jasmine, why don't you help her out?
120.
120, good job. Let's find the perimeter of Johnny's garden. And we know that is adding all sides. So we'll just go ahead and fill in the extra 10 and 12. So we have 10 plus 10 equaling
20.
20. And 12 plus 12 equaling
24.
24. And what does that give us?
44.
44. Good job. So Johnny's garden in perimeter is 44 feet compared to 120 feet in area. Let's do a couple more examples of real world situations. his driveway. And you know driveways are long. So let's say it is 20 by 30. And this is leading up to the house. Let's start with perimeter for this one. And we're just going to abbreviate perimeter. Since we know we have 20 for the length, we'll go ahead and fill in. And we have 30 for the width, we'll go ahead and fill in that. So we have 20 plus 20, which is
40.
40. And we have 30 plus 30, which is
60.
60. And what is the total for that, Jasmine?
100.
100. So the perimeter of his concrete driveway would be 100. Now let's look at the area for this. And we know area is length times width. Jasmine, could you tell me the calculation of the area for his concrete pouring?
20 times 30, and that's 600.
600. Good job. Let's do one more example. Let's say I want to paint a wall in my house, an accent wall, purple. The wall is 14 feet by 7. Let's figure out the perimeter first. So we know that we fill in 14 and 7. What is 14 plus 14?
28.
28, okay. And what's 7 plus 7?
14.
14. And so what do we come up with the total?
42.
42. Good job, guys. Now let's calculate the area for the wall that I'm going to paint. We know area is
Length times width.
length times width. So that'll make us multiply 14 times 7. And what do we come up with for 14 times 7?
98.
98. Okay, I have a question. Let's put on our critical thinking hats. If I were to go to the store to buy paint, and I want to spend the least amount of money, because you know teachers don't make that much money, which one would I use? Would I use the perimeter or the area?
Perimeter.
Perimeter.
Why would I use perimeter?
It's a smaller number.
It's a smaller number, therefore that would take less paint. Okay. Let's go back and refresh our memories. I want you to turn to your neighbor and discuss how to find perimeter and how to find area. I'll give you 30 seconds.
Perimeter. You supposed to add. You add.
In the area, you multiply the length times the width.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, can someone share that answer? What did you guys come up with for perimeter?
We add up all the sides.
Add up all the sides. And what did you come up with for area?
Area, you multiply the length times the width.
The length times width. Okay. Go ahead and take out your folder. You should have the worksheet for today, which is called Calculating the Garden. I want you to get into your normal groups of 2, and I want you to work the first 2 problems. The first problem should be, what is the perimeter of the garden, and it should have its own dimensions. And I'll give you 2 to 3 minutes to figure that out, and we'll discuss whenever you let me know. Make sure you keep in mind to know the differences between area and perimeter. Okay, just raise your hand if you're finished. Okay, let's see. Group 2. What is the perimeter for the garden?
60.
60. And how did you come up with 60?
We added 18 plus 18 plus 12 plus 12.
And that got you 60. Okay, group 4. Could you tell me the area for the garden?
216.
216. And remind me how you got to come up with that answer?
We multiplied 12 times 18.
12 times 18. Now, let's discuss. We see that we can use area and perimeter to find the different dimensions for most of the polygons that we use. How are they the same?
They're talking about the same thing.
They're talking about the same thing, but how are they different?
If the sides aren't equal, then the area and perimeter won't be equal.
Okay, and how else are they different?
One is measuring the outside, that's the perimeter, and the area measures everything that's on the inside.
Okay, and how else? There should be one more reason. How else are they different?
One uses multiplication and the other uses addition.
Great job. Okay, so we only have a few minutes left. I want you to get started on your homework. The homework should be the assessment that's in the back of your textbooks. Be sure to bring that back tomorrow because that is a grade. Thanks, guys.